for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone, bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Hey guys, welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. This week we have a great show up for you. We're going to start out with Bill Bender. You know him as the whiskey guy. He has his own show coming out later this summer called Bender's Stag. He tours around the country checking out distilleries. He smokes a lot of cigars. Can't wait to get some of his pairings. And as always, we'll hear from some of our listeners. Then we'll hear from Doc Collins. He's a vet, a patriot, and an author. And he smokes a lot of good cigars, drinks a lot of good whiskey, so we'll get some pairings from him as well. And then we'll name our cigar of the week. And this week we're going to do something a little bit different on the giveaway. We're going to ask a question at the end of the show, and the first one to email us the correct answer will be this week's winner. Email us. You'll go to our webpage, click on the contact link, and send us an email. And whoever gets the right answer to us first will be this week's winner. So stay tuned. Here comes Bill. All right, for our first guest, we have Bill Bender. How's it going today?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, we're doing good. I'm sitting back here smoking a cigar from Remember Cuba Cigars out of Florida. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but man, they make some fantastic cigars.
Do they? I've never heard of them. I gotta check them out.
Yeah, it's a real small boutique cigar company, and I just got a shipment in today. Man, I love their cigars. We smoked them a couple of weeks ago, so I'll tell you how good they are. I bought 140 of them.
You bought 140 of them. Well, they must be pretty damn good, huh?
Heck yeah, man. I had to put my extra humidor back into functionality because I didn't have room for that many cigars in my number one humidor. So
that's exciting times, man. When you always put a second humidor into play, you know it's business.
Oh, man, and my backup humidor is like, I'm guessing about 6 feet tall, and it holds probably about, I'm guessing 300 cigars, 400 cigars.
Love it.
So,
love it. It's great.
You know, if you're going to be smoking cigars, you got to make sure you never run out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when hell freezes over. That's when I run out.
Exactly. So, well, man, we really appreciate you being on the show, man. We love what you're doing. We see you on Instagram. I subscribe to your YouTube channel. We see you touring all over the country. Tell us about what you're doing as far as the distillery tour show.
Called Bender Stash. It's my last name. My stash of whiskey, and my girlfriend is actually when we met, she's a writer, director, producer. She was out of LA for a long time. She's originally from Florida. That's where we met. You know, she's like, you should have your own whiskey your own whiskey show. You know, you're 38 years old and you're working 90 hours a week. You know, because I was in the hospitality industry, and I said, no, that's just ridiculous. That's not going to work. And then for 4 months, she literally just blasted it. You know, in my mind, in my head, I was like, okay, fine. So we shot a pilot, and we got investors, and it took a year, and we traveled for 10 weeks. I think 15 states,
wow.
30 to 33 distilleries, a couple bars, a couple speakeasies in there, kind of like an Anthony Bourdain, but of whiskey. You know, it's not like a diners, dives, and drive-ins or whatever the hell that's called. You know, where it's all, cookie cutter. This is more like the more intimate one-on-one conversations and just getting drunk and being normal, not scripted.
Right.
You know, this is all pretty much unscripted, the whole first season. So we shot the first season. It went off without a hitch, and we just finished editing, and now it's the part where you hurry up and wait with the agents and the lawyers and all that stuff with the contract. So I can't really say anything about any of that stuff. But and then our targets to air summertime of 2019, and then we'll be off in August shooting season 2.
Oh, nice. So do you have any? I don't know if you can talk about this, but do you have any list of distilleries you plan hitting up for season 2 yet?
Season 2. We'll be in New York, we'll be in Arkansas, we'll be in Texas, we'll be in Nevada, we'll be in Michigan, Missouri, Iowa.
Nice.
We're gonna be all over the country again, like we were. Of course, we're gonna go back to Kentucky because you always got to be in Kentucky
if you're doing whiskey. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Tennessee. We're going to go out to the West Coast again. Back to California. We were in California before. It was pretty awesome. Those guys out there are great. They do great
Awesome.
things.
Well, hey, man,
Yep.
since you said you're going to be in Arkansas, I got to tell you, if you head over to Little Rock, you got to check out the West End Cigar Lounge. Man, those guys, they have a great lounge over there, great cigars, but the best part about it is they've got great guys that run the place. You know what I mean?
Well, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
You can have the best place in the world. If you have a bunch of snooty, stuck up, know-it-all, arrogant bastards, that run places, which I've been to.
Right.
They kind of look down at you. It turns you off. That's not hospitality.
No,
That's
and
not where I
you
came
were
from.
in the hospitality business, so you know what you're looking for.
Well, yeah, that has something to do with it. But I'm also, I'm an Italian from Central Jersey. I got a little 5-foot mother, Italian mother that I'm scared to death of. Still to this day, I'm a foot and a half taller than her, and she scares the hell out of me.
Right.
Well, treat people how you want to be treated, and that's basically how I've lived my life, and that's how we do the show, and it should be good.
Well, I've been telling tons of people about it. We can't wait until it comes out. I'm excited to see it. So I also noticed that on your Instagram account, you're always doing a ton of pairings with cigars and whiskey, and that's one of the things I wanted to reach out and find out what you were smoking these days.
Well, since I hurt myself yesterday, we went over that story, but I hurt myself yesterday, and so I'm actually drinking the most potent stuff that I have in my cabinet right now, which is the George T. Stagg Antique Series from Buffalo Trace, and it's a 2016 release.
Oh wow!
And it's 144.1 proof bourbon.
Wow!
You're never an expert when you first start stuff. And I've been drinking whiskey forever, and I've been smoking cigars for a better part of 15 years. So, when you first start, you try this and you pair that, and palates change. Your body's change every 7 years. So what could tasted great 7 years ago could be, not that good now.
Well, and also I think that once you start, like for me, when I started smoking cigars, I'll tell you, I smoked a lot of trash. And at the time, I thought they were pretty good, but then
because you didn't know anything
right.
else.
And then when you start stepping up a little bit, and you start learning, you're like, I would never go back and smoke some of those cigars.
Exactly. But you wouldn't be where you are now if you didn't smoke them when you first started. So I did it too. But so for this one, for the George T. Stagg, which is so high proof, and I did my testing over the years, and you can't do a really heavy cigar, dark cigar, with a light whiskey, or vice versa with the really potent whiskey and the heavy, and the light cigar, because one kind of cancels each other out. And so you kind of just want to get as close to flavor profiles as possible. But when you're drinking 144 proof whiskey, you kind of have limited options. But the Andalusian Bull, the LFD Andalusian Bull, is probably one of my favorite cigars, and it's got this rich, chocolatey, peppery spice to it that pretty much goes well with any bourbon, single malt, any Irish whiskey you have. I mean, you could smoke that with Wild Turkey Bottled and Bond or 101, or you could drink it with what I'm drinking now, or even with my favorite pairing with that cigar would be the Michter's Toasted Barrel Rye, because it's like the campfire with marshmallows, and it's nostalgic. You have a flashback of when you're a kid camping in the woods,
Right.
And you're like, oh my God. And then, it's great. It's good stuff.
Well, I love any of those whiskeys or cigars that kind of have that nostalgia feeling to it. It just kind of gives you that relaxing feeling while you're enjoying them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and we talked earlier today, and I have a couple of Andalusia Bulls that I've never actually smoked one, but I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he basically gave me the same profile you just said: the peppery with the chocolate, the smooth, the leather. And so I'm really looking forward to it. And a buddy of mine is coming over later, and he has an Andalusia Bull, so we're going to both fire one of those bad boys up.
Yes, man. Just let me know as soon as you light it up. Let me know what you think about it. That's pretty much my flavor profile. These days, I don't really go too light with cigars because it's smoking air, and plus I drink so much high proof stuff that I don't want to say my taste buds are shot, but they're just acclimated to.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. And, I had to actually step back from the real heavy profile cigars so that I could adjust my palate to enjoy the lighter cigars. Since I'm doing a cigar show, I wanted to be able to talk about all different cigars, but that was me too. I used to smoke just the strongest, most complex, strong profiles there were, and since then I've kind of backed off. But I'll tell you one of the cigars, and I don't know if you've had this one, but I was going to throw it up at you. Have you ever had the LFD Chapter 2?
No, I don't know. I might have. I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
It's actually, it's got a red band, but it's a beautiful cigar. I mean, it's like a beautiful wet leather look. I mean, it's so oily. When you feel it, it feels like velvet. I mean, it's an amazing cigar. And the cool thing about it is it's one of those red peppery profiles. And you get a lot of like dark pepper or black pepper or white pepper, but the red pepper is kind of rare. So it's kind of something different for you.
Gotta love it. I love it. Sounds like I gotta go get one.
Yeah, if you can find one, let me know. I might have to send you some money so you can send me a couple.
You know what? My cigar shop here in South Florida, they're pretty good with stuff like that. They got everything. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah,
it's nice to have a shop where you can find whatever you're looking for.
Yep, totally stumbled upon it one day. I was like, "What's this place?" And I walked in, and it was like, you hear the golden harps and the galleon horns
and all the doves like, fly out the door.
Yeah, yes, bright lights. Right. I'm here, I made it.
Well, it's great to have a go-to shop, man. I have one here in Abilene, Texas, The Leaf, and if anybody has a chance to go by there, I mean, you remember the old sitcom Cheers. It's that home feeling that everybody knows everybody, and you just
that's great.
You walk in and it's just home. It's your home away from home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, mine's it's called Smoke Inn. They have a couple different sites, but the one in Boynton Beach, Florida, that's probably the best one. Probably the best cigar shop that I've ever been in. But again, I haven't been all of them, so I don't know.
So many shops, so many cigars, so little time.
Yeah.
You told me about you had an accident playing golf. A lot of people might not know, but you actually were on the pro tour at one time.
I turned pro in 2007. I played a couple years, doing the qualifiers for Honda Classic, playing on the mini tour. Yeah, I'm prone to injury, and a couple times that I hurt myself, it never really recovered. So it gets to a point where you go out and you shoot a great number, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna win some money today, and then 259s and 360s and 462s come in, and you don't make a dime, and you're kind of like, okay, I got to take a step back and reassess what's going on here because I can't be wasting my time.
It was a great experience for you.
Absolutely. It was great. It was my dream, man. My dream was to move to Florida, become a professional golfer. I won one tournament, the short career that I had, and I met my goal. I wasn't on the PGA Tour, rubbing elbows with Tiger Woods or anything, but
right.
That would be an ultimate goal. I'm pretty happy with golf. It's just something I love doing.
And because of your love of golf, it gave you the opportunity to work at some great country clubs, and that kind of got you into the hospitality business full time. And then you were telling me that you were doing consultation work for other clubs and other bars for whiskey libraries. Is that right?
I was designing bars and bar programs and whiskey programs and consulting for new places and places that were already open. That's pretty much what I did because golf is during the day and bartending was at night, and my family was in the hospitality industry before I was even born, in the 60s and the 70s, and I was born into it, and I kind of just took it real easy when I got into it. But yeah, just a good experience. It's relations, it's knowing how to read people and
knowing what they need.
Being a complete gentleman. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
You learn to get when you're angry and somebody's like really being that guy, act extra nice.
Oh, absolutely. It's like they say, kill them with kindness. So that golf experience turned into the bar management experience has basically led you where you are now, doing something that you love and something that you really never even thought about.
Yeah. Before we started filming for the actual TV show, I was never on it, in front of a camera before. From New Jersey, and when I get drunk, I sound like I'm from New Jersey with the accent. And Emily, my girlfriend, she said, we got to get your camera ready. We got to get your vocabulary and your speech right. So you're comfortable behind a bar talking, and you're comfortable on a golf course talking. So why don't we do whiskey reviews on a golf course. And I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So we went out, and that's where we started doing whiskey reviews, and we had some cigar pairings too. That's the stuff that's on the YouTube channel. And I felt comfortable on the golf course talking. A lot of people golf and a lot of people drink whiskey and smoke cigars while they're playing golf. So you couldn't go wrong with that combo.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven for you.
Exactly.
I don't know your schedule next year, but when you come down to Texas, man, we definitely got to get together and enjoy some of your favorite whiskeys, and I'll bring some of your favorite cigars.
That would be awesome. I'd be excited to do that.
Well, you let me know when you're coming to Texas, and we'll definitely get together.
Oh, I'll definitely let you know.
So, what you have anything coming up over the next few weeks? I know you're kind of like on your vacation time. So, I mean, other than recovering from your ankle injury.
Yeah, we just have a bunch of meetings and conference calls. Nothing too flashy. I might be in Kentucky or Tennessee within the next couple months. I actually want to pick a barrel. I'm going to do a barrel pick of whiskey for the show. It'll be a Binder Stash barrel pick.
Oh, nice.
Probably about 170, 180 bottles. Nothing crazy, but that's something that it's going to be a really big thing. So I'm just sitting and waiting, just hanging out.
Hey, man, well, let me tell you, I think what you're doing is super cool, and I love the fact that you've had a good amount of success and that you're still this everyday average Joe. A lot of people, it goes to their head and they kind of start, thinking they're somebody cool, and you are cool, but you're not a jerk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm humble, man. And I'll always be humble. I know where I came from, and the family and the values and the everything that my parents taught me, growing up, and no matter what happens, I'm always going to be the same guy, because there's a lot.
Besides that, your mom won't let you get to be a big-headed jerk.
Oh, she'll give me the big Italian backhand.
Right.
I can't stand it. Yeah, that thing it's dangerous.
Well, that's great. You're home for Valentine's. Where's your girlfriend at, man?
She's downstairs watching Despicable Me with her son.
Oh, awesome. It's a great show.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, all right, man. Well, hey, dude, we appreciate you being on the show, and I can't wait to see your show come out this summer. And if you ever need anything from us, man, we'll be here for you.
And vice versa, man. If you ever need anything from me, please don't hesitate to call.
All right, man. Take care of yourself. I hope you heal up soon, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey guys, this is the part of the show where we reach out to listeners. We call them up, find out what they're smoking, find out about their lounge, and then just see what's going on in their world. We appreciate all the support, and if you'd like to be on the show, go to our website, click on the contact page or the registration page, and send us an email or register, and we'll see about having you on the show, find out what's going on with you guys. All right, we're talking to one of our listeners. We appreciate his support so much. He's always telling us about what he liked on the show and gives us ideas for future shows. And we talked to him about the cigar lounge he's in. As you can hear, he's in a cigar lounge now. He's told me he's had a good time there. So, Anselmo, how are you, man?
Good, Rob. Everything's going good. And yourself?
We're having a good time here at the cigar shed here on my backyard doing the show tonight, and we wanted to give you a call and just tell you that we appreciate your support and find out what you're smoking tonight, man.
Obsidian Robusto.
That's a good smoke. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, as I told you once before.
Yeah, it's good, man. I tried it like about a year ago, and I fell in love with it,
Yeah, it's full blown. When they say full body, I think it's full body and then some.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a smooth smoke. That's the great thing about it.
Yeah, and they're really nice construction, and they smoke real smooth. I really enjoyed it. I haven't had one probably in about 3 or 4 months, but I've smoked a lot of those.
And I'm one of those guys that I rarely get to taste the cigar, for what it is. And this is one of the few that I could say when I smoke it, it's just fantastic,
Very nice. Well, how long you been smoking cigars, brother?
Wow. Before I got married, which was over 30 years ago,
wow.
I used to smoke, and then I stopped. And then I started again about 3 years ago.
Oh, great, man. So you've seen a big difference in the cigar scenes in the break that you took, for sure, huh?
Yeah, definitely, After smoking like a few of the premiums, I've like narrowed it down to like maybe 4 or 5 that I really like. And but I'm always open to trying something new,
Yeah.
That's that's why I love your Instagram page, because anyone who wants to start smoking, all they have to do is look at your page, man. You could just close your eyes and just point to whichever one. You know?
Well, I appreciate that. I do. I try to get around the line of cigars, and I mean, really, I just like to try just about everything. So, I enjoy finding that new cigar that I haven't tried before that I really enjoy.
Well, that's the fun of it, you know.
Absolutely, man.
That's what makes cigar smoking so great. That there's never that one, because there's so many, and each day it's like more and more, and you're wondering where they're all coming from, and it's like an endless world, which is great.
Oh yeah, and I'll tell you, even at my home shop, our home shop humidor is pretty good size. I'd probably say there's around 250 to 350 different facings, and so I go in there and you tend to go to what you already know that you like, but then sometimes I would just walk around aimlessly looking at the different cigars, reading about them, and go, you know what, I'm going to try this one today. So it's one of the fun things about smoking cigars. There's always one around the corner that you haven't had yet.
I'll go into a place like Nat Sherman, I'll just go into one of these lounges, and if I see something, I'll just try it out. That's what happened with the San Latano Maduro.
Oh yeah, good smoke.
I just saw it because I'd seen it many a time, and I said, you know what, I have to try this, and it's a great smoke.
Yeah, they make a great smoke. So, have you been to the Nat Sherman there in New York?
Yeah, I've been to the Nat Sherman. I go a lot to the Carnegie Club. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, I haven't.
Carnegie Club is like one of the oldest entertainment / cigar lounges in the city. I think they're basically the only one that probably has a liquor license and a cigar smoking license.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's like a big tourist attraction there, And every Friday, a lot of the guys that I know, we go there also. And, we'll hit the cigar inns like this place first, and then we'll go there after, because we also have friends over there. And
nice.
You'll bump into many people there in the entertainment world sometimes, in the sports world. And, the great thing about the cigar world is no status.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a brotherhood there, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
It is a brotherhood, and that's one of the things I love about it, and I think that's what draws in a lot of people. But
we were talking about that today. I was talking with this lady today, who's an avid smoker here, and she said, the great thing about cigar smoking is that there's no status. Everybody just enjoys the company. You get to meet people every single time. I mean, I've met more people smoking cigars at any other time in my lifetime,
Yeah, and I'm with you, and I think that when you want to meet great people, you want to go to the cigar shops, because it's like great, just good-hearted people are at the cigar shops.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I've had some of the most interesting conversations. One of the guys that smokes with us was the main trumpet player in Prince's band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he whenever he could, he would come and hang out with us. A former boxing great, Ronaldo Snipes, who's a friend of mine, he smokes with us too. He's part of our group. And we have a lot of guys, man. I mean, forget it.
Yeah.
It's endless,
Well, it's funny that you said that you met the trumpet player from Prince, because we were actually in the cigar shop a couple of days ago, and we were talking about some of the greatest guitar players of all time, and how that Prince is usually overlooked, and he was one of the great guitar players of his time.
Oh, this guy played, I think, 20 instruments or more?
Yeah.
You know the dedication and woodshedding you got to do to be like that?
Oh, man.
That's what makes a great musician like him,
Hey, they paid their dues.
Yeah. My father was a country guitarist. He loved country music, yeah. He was from the hills in Puerto Rico, and my father was self-taught. And at a very young age, he used to run around the countryside with the father of country music in Puerto Rico. So I grew up listening to music, and I got to hear the greats. My father's favorite guitar player was Chet Atkins.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Oh,
love
man.
Chet Atkins.
And Roy Clark,
Oh, yeah. He just passed away, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Great loss.
I got to go see Roy Clark's ranch up in northeast Oklahoma probably about 15 years ago, and I'll tell you what, it was something to see.
Yeah.
But
You know,
they
country music is like family. You know,
well,
that's
it definitely does bring people together, and especially for me, the older country music.
yeah.
Of course, I'm
I'm
an
a bit.
old guy, so
Well, you know, we grew up when the music was great.
exactly.
You
I,
know, I
I, I
mean,
try not to offend any of the young guys by talking about how
nah.
great the music was back in the day. But I mean, back in the day, people were actually musicians. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course, you know, it was all life experience.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you know, Willie Nelson, man. I mean, I can't say enough about this guy.
Oh yeah,
This is
Willie's great, and my favorite of
what?
all time in the country music industry was Merle Haggard.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was a great loss too. There, you know.
Oh yeah, but my taste is all over the place because my other favorite band is I always tell people it's from Merle Haggard all the way to Pink Floyd.
Yeah, we used to have a place called the Lone Star Cafe here back in the day, and I used to live there a lot on Thursday nights because all the great country bands would come there, you know.
Oh, that's
And
awesome. You've probably seen a lot of
yeah,
great ones, huh?
oh yeah, Sleep at the Wheel used to constantly come into town and play there, and
Wow.
that was always a treat. Marshall Tucker was supposed to have come one time, and I had to work that night, so I never made it, you know.
Hey, so what kind of work do you do?
I work with an insurance company right now. I was doing paralegal work prior to that, but I had lost my job, and then this came up, and it's worked out really good, you know.
Awesome,
And
man.
yeah, and I do screenwriting as a hobby on the side.
Oh, very
So
nice.
yeah, yeah. So and then you know the cigar smoking and hanging out with good people. You know.
Hey, man, it's great to follow your passion.
Yeah, you know, and I'm so happy that I got into Instagram because you know I never would have met you, and it's been a pleasure meeting you, man.
Oh well,
I feel
hey man, it goes both ways. It's a pleasure meeting to you and talking to you ever so often. So I just appreciate you and your support, man.
Yeah, I feel like I've known you, you know, for a long time. You come across as a really down to earth guy.
Hey, that's what
You
the
know,
Brotherhood of Cigars is all about, brother.
that's right. That's right. You know, and like I said, you're the first Texan friend that I've ever had.
All
So,
right. Well, if you ever get a chance to come down to Texas, let me know. I'll take you for a cigar. But I definitely plan on coming up to your area, and I've met a lot of people from up that direction, and all of them have just been really super nice people. So I can't wait to make that trip.
oh man, same here. You know, you'll love New York, and there's plenty of cigar bars. Trust me.
Well, it sounds like heaven to me. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, and I hope you have a great night and smoke some great cigars, man.
Rob, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure, man. And to all the brothers and sisters of the Leaf, enjoy every day you smoke, man.
Hey, we sure will, Anselmo. Thank you so much, man.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take care, man. All right, guys, welcome back to Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones, and today we have a special guest. This guy is a patriot, he's a vet, he's an author, and he rock and rolls with cigars and whiskey. Welcome to the show, Doc Collins. How you doing tonight, Doc?
Thank you so much for having me, brother. I really appreciate the time.
Oh, man, we love having you on the show. It's been a long time coming, and we just appreciate you taking the time out for us. And I know a lot of guys on Instagram follow you, and they know what you're doing, and much respect. And so tell us about your bestseller book that you've recently written, and I know it's part of a series. Why don't you give us a little overview of what you got going on there?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The appreciation for my service is also appreciated. I was glad to be able to serve. I was a medic in the Army for 6 years, kind of late to the party, but never without a drink in hand. Showed up and turned 30 at basic, and was able to serve stateside. Did not have any combat deployments, so I want to kind of put that out there first. Discovered at 34 that after almost 2 careers of bodybuilding and being a television professional wrestler for a few years before I went into the Army, that I was a writer, that I was more brains than brawn. I was actually able to write and create that way rather than just work on the physicality alone. So 1,300 hours came to me in that season of transition as I was preparing to exit service in the Army. and I've written 3 books completely
Wow,
from
that's
start
great,
to finish.
man. Congratulations
So
on that. That's a big challenge.
it was, especially when I was just getting started realizing, oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, I'm not writing 1 book. I'm writing 5 books in this specific series. And my systems have gotten better. So the first one took about 18 months to write. The second one took about 10. And the third took about 4 to 6. So I'm writing faster, but I'm more efficient with how I'm putting things together. And now I've got a body of work being assembled. We'll say that.
Yeah, that's great. And when you start out at first, it takes a while to put together your processes and the steps that you take. And once you get into a rhythm, and figure out those processes, it's no different than any other business. So, hats off to you. You've done a wonderful job. I see everybody raving about you on Instagram. And tell everybody what your Instagram username is.
They can find me on Instagram. My handle is @Patriot Heart Media, all spelled out. Patriot, HEART Media. But that's just one channel that they can find me in. I'm on Facebook, just Collins. I'm on Twitter @RealDocCollins, and then the website itself is Patriot Heart Press. That's HQ for me.
Okay, cool, man. So when you decided to go into the military, what age were you at that time?
29.
29. And so what made you go at 29 decide, you know what, I'm going to go serve the country?
Well, you hit the nail on the head, really. It was 8 years. About 5 of those I was able to carve out part of a living with sponsor support and that sort of thing, getting paid to actually compete in bodybuilding and use sports supplements. Not a bad gig. But it was also in the middle of the transition from bodybuilding to television professional wrestling that my younger brother, 5 years my junior, served in the Marine Corps. Now, he went right out of high school. He graduated on a Saturday and was on the bus on Sunday.
Wow.
So he went from, I like to say, he was a 177-pound Cheeto-eating, Code Red drinking, video game playing boy to a 155-pound, 26-inch waist hard Marine.
Nice.
Went from a video game transition.
Yeah, it went from a video gaming boy to a Marine man.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, that's awesome.
And when he went in, he did one tour, had a rough go. The hand that was dealt to him and his time in service was much more hardcore than mine. That's for sure. And so when he got out, rather than actually talking to anybody or taking advantage of those post-deployment classes and sessions like that, he just kept it. And so somehow I got it in my head that if I put on the uniform and kind of earned that spot, earned that respect as a peer in that regard, that maybe he would share. And on a long gamble, it worked.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's a great story. So you joined at 29, and tell me about when you started smoking cigars.
One of the big things in El Paso, I was stationed in 4-6 Infantry out of Fort Bliss, and they love to do field exercises. So we would often go to red sands or white sands or middle of a sandbox somewhere here to train. And that could be anywhere from a long weekend, 11 days, 20 days, 28 days. Maybe they like to cap us off before they had to pay us family separation pay at a month.
Right.
Government knows what it's doing when it comes to that, holding dollars. But yeah, we were out in the field, and I definitely I wasn't one of the guys that was going to smoke cigarettes. Being a medic, I needed to be somewhat of an example, but some of the senior NCOs and officers would let Doc kind of hang with them a bit, and they were enjoying various degrees and qualities of cigars. And I guess I got a sampling while I was in, and then when I got out, I took a job writing as a staff writer with Coastal Palette, Coastal Lifestyle, and Gulf Coast Bride magazine between Mobile and Destin immediately post service, and that was where I was at when I got exposed to the most diverse cigars, and that's where I figured out that I like Cuba. I like those medium to heavier smokes, but again, I like to punch instead of chop. A lot of guys just, hacking their cigars up and getting a huge draw, and I'm like, well, I don't want the flavor to be masked by the heavy smoke. So
Right.
I just take my time with that, and I learned along the way by being a writer that was invited to review different whiskey and wine bars and things like that. So
Oh, that's awesome, man.
I'd wake up to text messages from the publisher saying, you got a wine tasting at 4:30 at this place, then you got to shoot over to this place, and you got a spirit sampling over here, and don't be late. I need 600 words by midnight.
Wow.
Okay.
So you just go do what you got to do, brother. What are you smoking these days? Because I saw some pictures of you on Instagram the other day, and it looks like you're smoking a log. It's a huge cigar.
Yep, those are the Asylum 13s. They are, let's see here, I'll reach into my humidor here. Let's see where I got. Yes, the Asylum 13, 80 by 6.
Wow.
So
80 by 6. That's a huge cigar.
It's heavy. Been enjoying the CAO Flathead 770s.
Those are good smokes. I haven't
Those
had
are fantastic.
I haven't had the Asylum, but the 770, and actually I usually smoke the 660 if I have those. That 770 is a little bit big for me, but the 660 has definitely been one of the cigars I enjoy from time to time.
Another one I'm on is Black Label Trading Company. They have those Last Rites. The Last Rites, it's a dark wrapper. That's a good taste. So
I've been hearing a lot about their cigars. I haven't had the privilege of smoking any of them yet, but they are definitely on everybody's pages, and just I've heard a lot about them. So I have been on the lookout. I just haven't found them yet.
Yeah, when you do, you'll take your time with it, and you'll probably you want to grab a couple.
I usually always grab at least 2 of everything.
I like your style.
I went by the shop yesterday and picked up a couple of Andalusian Bulls from LFD, and I've never had one, but I've been seeing them everywhere, the hype's about them, so I wanted to check those out. And a good buddy of mine over in Arkansas, Viking, was telling me about what a great smoke it was, and he was exactly right. It wasn't like real bold and overpowering, but it had some very nice complex flavors like red pepper, some dark chocolate, some leather, some earth. Anyway, it was a real good smoke. I was impressed with it. In fact, I just finished it up right now.
Outstanding.
So
I like that you have a Viking in Arkansas.
Oh, man, he's a great dude. If you've seen him, you'd know why they call him Viking. He's got this big beard, and he's always got a cigar in his hand, so it definitely fits him.
I know the type.
Yeah, he's a real good dude. So tell us about what you got coming up for your book.
Well, I've just been in the process of booking live speaking events and signings. So I've long appreciated the time and what it takes to complete a project, let alone go through the arduous process of editing and then actually publishing the project. So I've attended every book meet the author event at the local college Barnes and Noble or the bookstores in the area, just to shake their hand and ask them, tips, insider, perspective, that kind of thing. And now I'm going to have the opportunity to be on the other side of the table and shake hands with people that have read my book or avid readers in the genres that I'm writing. Today I went live and got to share that a major publishing house reached out to me requesting a submission. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I tell you what, I don't know, I did catch you on your live read today, and you did a fantastic job, by the way.
Well, I appreciate that. Through the hack that I learned before it was published, I decided I was going to read a chapter live on Facebook Live every week for a while to gain context of what the audience was responding to. And one of the big things that they said was, hey, when the audio version comes around, you got to do the reading. Nobody else can read this for you. This is your story. It needs to be told in your voice.
Yeah, and you know, whenever we first met a couple of months ago, after hearing you on a live video, I reached out and was like, man, you got to start doing a podcast. You got that golden pipe voice. You need to be doing something where people can hear it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
There you go. So you've got the book 1300 out, correct?
Roger. It's been out since 9 December. It's hit a few bestseller lists within the Amazon and Author House framework, and sold out of the first run sent to Amazon. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah,
and
great.
I think we're over a dozen 5-star reviews now. The big, I guess, work now with the marketing is simply reaching out to the veteran and milspouse community, first responder community, and connecting with book bloggers, people that write about what it is that they're reading, or specifically in the PTS management space, people that are new to being partnered with somebody that's going to deploy or has deployed or is deployed, and then just offering them a free copy, a free e-copy of the book so that they can consume it and go, hey, this either has value, adds value to my life specifically, and I would love to share it with my audience and maybe even leave a review. So I am steady in the inboxes of our nation's heroes, not just American, not just stateside, but all those that support freedom. I've got a fantastic following in the UK and in England, and little hot spots, Glasgow and Dublin, and it's cool to see the pockets of people around the world that the analytics come back from Facebook saying, hey, you're hitting a nerve here. You're popular here. And I go, oh, popular.
Yeah. You know,
freedom's popular in a few places like that. So.
Yeah. And it's crazy with the internet, taking a product or a service, just taking it worldwide. I am often just overwhelmed at how many listeners to the show we have in the UK and even like in China and down in Australia. So yeah, it's kind of eye-opening to see just how far you can reach people worldwide.
Yeah, the internet's definitely opened up the crimp in the hourglass, and it gives me a lot more perspective on how great the early writers must have been to earn their renown, because people had to either get in a buggy or travel somehow differently than we can just with picking up a mobile device and communicating that. So
yeah, I've actually talked to a good friend. Well, he's become a good friend just through Instagram and the podcast. He's in the UK. His name is Andy McIntyre, and he's always chatting with me back and forth, and he's giving me information and I'm giving him information. So it's great just to build relationships with people halfway around the world. I find that very intriguing.
And then have a conversation while you're smoking your cigar on your back deck.
Right.
And you're maybe closing off a work day and they're starting their day and they're in another country. That is terrific.
Yeah, it's really cool. So when will we see the release of your next book?
That's a tough question. Why did you ask me that?
Well, because, I'm sure that all your fans are asking you the same thing.
So it's interesting. I've dedicated myself to the craft and the study of self-publishing over the last 2 years. Really plugged in with Tim Grahl, who has helped more authors become best-selling authors than anyone else in the business. Also plugged into Self-Publishing School, run by Chandler Bolt. It's an excellent program. If you're an aspiring author or writer, I would definitely recommend it. Learning the different demands of genre readers. I've jumped into the pool full of sharks because the romance genre reader is the most voracious consumer of material. They read at a higher rate than any other sci-fi, mystery, drama, thriller, horror, any of those other categories. The romance reader reads at a rate of, right now, it's about 13% more than the next most popular genre, which is sci-fi.
Wow.
Sci-fi. That's right. Sci-fi mystery is the next one. So knowing that they are going to be demanding, I went into it knowing I had my work cut out. Thankfully, I'm entering the market with 3 books already created, already produced and just need to go through the editing and then the final publishing, post-production side of it.
Great. So you got some material in the bank.
Yes, and we can expect some easy copies coming out. I call it the easy copy is going to be like the first draft that's been through an editing process. I, in my head, just got beware the Ides of March, because March 15th, I'm going to start rolling out some free e-copies of that will be pre-production. And then if we can get a proper team on board to produce the actual physical product, then by mid-April, we can expect 1,400 hours to be on bookshelves and in people's hands.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So let me ask you this question that some of your fans might be wanting to know. Where do you draw your inspiration when you're writing?
From a number of different places, and that's a great question. I simply observe. I watch. I look for details. I listen to stories. I take little bits and pieces, and then I craft it around. It's like the wrapper of a cigar.
Very nice.
You've got the meat. You've got that bulk, that core, which would be the principles and the message of what needs to be communicated. And then the dressing, or the part that gives it its individual flavor, is all the storytelling element around it. Now, I mentioned early in the call, I was a television professional wrestler for a developmental company for a few years, about 3 years. And I have to give a lot of the credit to those that trained me because growing up a song and dance kid, I know I put myself out there now.
Yeah, you
I grew up a song and dance kid. Yeah. I learned how to communicate a story with certain direction. But in the world of television professional wrestling, it is telling a story that is much more improvised than the audience often gives us credit for. Like, oh, it's all fake, it's choreographed, it's this, it's that. People have their opinions and they have their speculations, but professional wrestling isn't about wins and losses. Any pro wrestler from the back would tell you the guy that remembers his wins and losses is not a storyteller.
Gotcha.
And so taking the pacing, what I learned leading up to and building and creating context, and then really, really displaying, putting out a conflict, and then having hope spots, false finishes, all of that, it all works into the craft that I'm still working at. This last, I guess, December, I really had to dig back into 1,400 hours to make sure I was prepared to send it off. And early on, I would say, hey, the first one, boy meets girl, you get the idea. The second one really sucks. And I would say that because it's hard to read. It's hard. It's a hard time without the audience having context. The female protagonist in 1,300 hours, she's a flight nurse. She's the service member. It's not G.I. Joe saving a damsel in distress.
Gotcha.
This is the female lead is the service member, and she takes our combat wounded from the battlefield to the next echelon of care. She sees the worst of the worst. She's the first one to have hands on them, moving them till, I guess, the longer term care or surgery can be provided. That's been her life from very, very early on. And then the male protagonist is a B-list celebrity athlete. He played professional baseball for a couple of games. Then he loses the wife of his youth. Rather than pursue professional baseball, he opens a physical therapy practice in Richmond, Virginia. And the two meet because he takes care of Ava's hips because she's a runner and she's always in pain from running. So
I gotcha. Yeah.
that's the context of it. And I go, okay, without just completely ruining the spoiler of the night is 1,400 hours. 60% of that is her being deployed. She's gone.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine the conflicts of somebody that doesn't have context of being in a relationship with a military service member, and then the horrors that the military service member downrange may be experiencing. And then when she comes back, he's thinking, oh, she's back. Hero is welcome. No. Then he gets to see firsthand what PTS symptoms can look like, what sleeplessness is, moral trauma, survivor guilt. That's where the rubber meets the road. And so in reviewing back in December, I came to a realization at the end of 1,400 hours would have really left some people maybe going to the clinic to check themselves in because it was that bad. So I decided I would shift a little bit of the chronology from 1,500 hours into 1,400 hours. So a little bit of data sharing, if you will, and then pick it up. So I always said 1,400 hours is going to suck.
Well,
But 1,500 hours.
Sounds like a big piece, or actually a lot of moving parts to bring back together.
You get it.
Yeah. It sounds very interesting to me. And you're planning on doing how many books total? It's going to be 5, is that correct?
So we're just talking the 1,300 hours series, 1,300 through 1,700. 1,700 hours, anybody that doesn't know 24-hour time, 1,700 hours is 5 o'clock. It's quitting time. It's a good place to stop.
Oh, very nice.
And so when I was mapping all this out, and when I say mapping it out, I mean I get a chalk block, a big cardboard paper, and I am storyboarding everything. So I've got I know what the last line of the last book is going to be.
Oh, wow.
But I have to fill in the framework. It's like a big puzzle. So if you've ever, as a child, put together something like a 3,000 or 5,000 piece puzzle, imagine being 36 years old and putting together a 4 million piece puzzle, because that's what I have created for myself. And I couldn't be more excited. I got to tell you, when I began the process and I was aware that I was on to something, I would stay up until 2 a.m. and then I would have to tell myself, look, you've got PT at 6 a.m. Put it down, get some rack, and come back to it tomorrow. And I always walked around with the legal. And you asked me where my inspiration comes from. And many of the inspiration that I got was contextual with what my brother was able to share, or what I heard from other service members while I was in, what I observed while I was, stories that I overheard. And because I'm not putting at the front of it or on the title based on a true story, it's just story.
Well, I'll tell you what makes me want to read your books is the passion that you put into them. The passion of not being able to go to bed until 2 a.m, get up at 6, do your routine, and then go right back to it. That's not something that, your average Joe wants to do, but you're putting in the passion and the work behind it, and that's impressive to me, and that relays something that would interest me.
Respect. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I see someone that passionate about it, it's contagious, and it makes me say, wow, if he's that passionate about it, it's got to be something that would interest me, because I'm super passionate about the whole cigar industry. Carry around your notebook, because that's something that I do, is I carry my notebook around, and I mean, lots of cigar smokers have great ideas for my show, and so it's kind of like I get to share my passion, and they get to share their passion to make something special. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, 100%.
And so just the passion that I have to supply information to other cigar enthusiasts or cigar aficionados even, I can see that you're passionate about what you're doing. So, I mean, that really sparks an interest in me, and I'm sure lots of your fans see what you're putting out there and what your passion of throwing it out there together. And then, a lot of people don't know about all the work that you're doing behind the scenes because they don't really see that part. So we appreciate you sharing that with us as well.
100%. I figured that if I don't feel it, why would anybody else? So
Amen.
If I'm not emotional and committed, then I can't expect my readers to be that way. When I began reading a chapter live every week on Facebook Live, the feedback that I got was, you can't do that. When I heard your voice crack, I knew what you were doing. If you cry, I'm going to cry. I mean, the comments in there, but what I was sharing, and I honestly, Rob, I cannot begin sharing a specific point that touches that, that soft spot in me. I can't share that with somebody out loud without getting choked up in the same places. Whenever I read the chapters that have those hard-hitting moments aloud, whether I'm by myself or if I'm reading for an audience, I'm going to get choked up because that stuff matters.
Absolutely, man. And it's real.
It's very real. In fact, it was so real. Just the other week, I was at a Starbucks at that long community table that they often have. I was at one end, and a well-dressed older gentleman was in his sport coat and speaking with another woman there. And he looked down the table at me, and he stopped what he was doing, and he says, "Young man, are you okay?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was in my space. I was in my spot. I was in my zone." And I looked up at him and I said, "Yes, sir. I'm a novelist, and my characters are really going through something right now.
Oh wow,
I'm just fine." And okay, well, I just wanted to check on you. I thought very thoughtful, very kind on his part, but I was crying in the coffee shop when I was in Alabama, the baristas knew. They were like, "Mr. Doc, are you all right? Can we get you another coffee?" I mean, they were aware.
Right.
Whatever I was going to put down, it was going to be heavy.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So before we go, give us a good cigar pairing with either a wine or a whiskey that the listeners can take away and give it a try themselves.
Well, okay. All right. Now we're fun. Now we're in the fun zone.
Right.
So I love the Dura, with a red wine. Now, I'm going to sound really dumb and fancy here at the same time. Been bigger on Australian wines. There's a 19 Crimes red, but if you can get your hands on a Chateauneuf de Pop with a Madura, you're going to be loving life. That is, to me, that is a peak luxurious type pairing. On any given evening, I will go for a walk down Duke of Gloucester Street, which is the main Colonial Williamsburg walk. That's, from one end at William and Mary College to the Capitol at the other end, 1.1 mile sweet little cobblestone walk. And I will enjoy one of those 770s or an Asylum 13, and I'll have a Stillhouse black bourbon, or like I'm drinking neat right now, a Lead Slinger's Thin Blue Line bourbon whiskey. Now, Lead Slingers is produced by another veteran friend of mine, Vinny Vargas, Rocco. He's one of the co-stars on the Mayans MC and one of the co-creators of Lead Slingers Bourbon. You got to check them out if you haven't checked them out. That's another veteran-owned business that I highly, highly recommend.
Yeah,
so
definitely have to check that one out. I hadn't heard of that one, so definitely something I'm going to be looking for.
Lead Slingers.
Lead
Slingers whiskey.
I like that.
So Lead Slingers and either an Asylum 13 or the Flathead 770s. That's a good place to be on.
Well, I'll tell you, I read an article last night that the quarterback for the Panthers, Cam Newton, actually just opened up a high-end cigar club in Atlanta. So if you get down that way, you have to go check it out. Let me know what you think. I saw some photos of the lounge, and it was pretty spectacular.
You say Cam Newton of the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah.
Well, I've got to definitely put this in the ear of one of my other good barber buddies, Dwayne at Fine Cuts here in Williamsburg, because he is a diehard Carolina Panthers fan. I've got a couple of gifts sitting over here next to me for him. And, Atlanta is definitely going to be one of the hot spots that you see Doc showing up and booking his book signing events on his homepage at Patriot Heart Press. Atlanta, Nashville.
Yeah, and I tell you, Atlanta has really surprised me in the cigar community, because I believe 3 weeks ago we did an interview with Roland Cigars, and it's a couple of brothers of the Leaf that have a mobile cigar lounge, and they have a really cool mobile lounge that they take all over. They do events, and then I've read so many different articles about what's going on in Atlanta in the cigar industry, and I mean, they are just killing it over there.
I just love seeing good people win.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Send me the link. I know who that guy is.
Yeah, that's I definitely great. Will. It's actually two guys, good friends, and it's Dirk and Mozzie. I'll send you their information. When you get down to Atlanta, you got to go by and tell them I said hello.
Love it.
All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you being on the show, and I'm sure me and you's going to be in contact over a long period of time. I look forward to things to come for you, brother.
I really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
All right, man. Take care, brother. Okay, guys, the cigar of the week is going to be a special one. I just smoked mine the first time this week. It's the Andalusia Bull from LFD. I love the cigar. It was definitely a medium profile. Good smoke, good construction. Had some red pepper, some chocolate, some leather, earth tones. Anyway, it was a great cigar, and the lucky winner this week is going to receive the Andalusia Bull from LFD. Now, in order to win this week, you need to send us an email with the answer to this question. 2 weeks ago, we gave away a hat with a sponsor's name on the hat, and it's a nonprofit organization. They donate to St. Jude's and the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. So if you send us an email and tell us who that sponsor was, we're going to send you this Andalusia bull from LFD. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. I know we always do. And if there's any questions you have, shoot us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Until next week, stay smoky, my friends.